Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. We do understand that when life feels uncertain or emotionally heavy, even showing up to a session like this can take
Even
energy.
showing up to a
The current situation may have created different reactions in each one of us. Some of us may feel anxious or unsettled, others may feel distracted, irritable, or mentally exhausted, and some may not fully understand what they are feeling. There's just a quiet sense of unease. Please note that all of these reactions are completely human. Today's session is about creating a safe space to pause, to understand what happens to us psychologically during uncertain times, and to learn gentle, practical tools that can help us feel more grounded and steady. We are very grateful to have Miss Ira with us today, who will guide us through this conversation with professional insight and compassion. Miss Ira is a counseling psychologist and psychotherapist based in Dubai, working with individuals as well as corporates. I encourage you to be present in whatever way feels comfortable for you. If something resonates, please take note of it. If you have any questions or you feel like sharing something, please feel free to use the chat box or unmute yourself. If you feel the need to simply listen quietly, that is also perfectly okay. And with that, I will hand it over to you, Ira.
Thank you so much, Shivani, for the intro, and thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate. And the first thing I would really want to say, I don't think so, even as a professional, I would be able to share something that we might not know already. But today, taking this time for 1 hour is just understanding that I am gonna take this 1 hour just to observe myself, observe my emotions, observe my body, and just maybe this 1 hour is part of my self care and just my small try to understand what's happening. I know that over the past few days, many of us have been waking up to alerts, news notification, uncertainty, and a lot of questions about what's happening around us. Some of you may have heard sirens, some of you may have seen headlines, interceptions, airspace closures, flight disruptions, and obviously, nothing is much more disruptive right now than being in aviation. Um, and I think all of us in the region are going through very similar feelings, but the way we cope with it differentiate from one person to another person. And maybe many of you may simply be feeling a sense of unease without fully understanding why. And that is how you're feeling today. I want to begin with one very important message is what you are feeling is completely normal. I mean, nobody is prepared to deal with this kind of situation. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And we are going to talk about it whenever we are in such a situation, how our brain responds and how do we manage it and how do we deal with it. Today, we are not here to ignore fear. We are here to understand it, manage it, and learn how to take care of ourselves and each other during this time. That's all we're going to learn. Our agenda is understanding the biological and psychological realities, what happens in our brain whenever a human body or a human life goes through such an experience. We're going to understand how it can impact us now. And if we don't take care of ourselves in a way that we are supposed to do, how it can impact our brain health in the long run. Because right now, we all are experiencing almost a similar situation. However, our circumstances are different. But once this situation will be over, many people will go back to their normal lives, and within some time, they'll adapt to it and they'll forget about it. They'll move on from it. But there will be a small number of people who would develop PTSD out of it. So that's what I want to focus on today. Yes, we are going through something, but whatever we are going through, what can we do that we protect our brain to develop any sort of PTSD, depression, or anxiety in the long run? So before we begin, I want to ask you something, all of you. We are almost 39 people now. So I want to ask you to go in the chat box and write one word that express your feeling, what you have been feeling for the past few days. For me, I can tell I've been feeling overwhelmed because due to the situation, my workload has increased so much, not only seeing patients, but also doing a lot of webinars and trainings. So I am overwhelmed. So please go in the chat box and let us know how are you feeling. I'm gonna go in the chat box to review the responses. Worried, Sammy. Yes, understandable. Uncertainty with the future. Uncertain, frustrated. Absolutely. Janet. Anxious, fatigue. How long this would last, we don't know. Yes, that's a big question. Fatigue, confused and anxious. Chris, I see you. I understand. Overwhelmed and tired. Fully understandable. Now, here, one thing before we move to the next topic, job security, especially for us with huge loans. Yes, of course, everybody has different circumstances. I get that. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. I really appreciate it. We are right now 48 people, and I hope we will try to make this 1 hour as interactive as possible and try to learn from each other and try to share our feelings so other can also feel relate to it. Don't feel alone. So before we move to the next point, what I really want to say, we all are in the same situation, but everybody's emotions and the way they feel towards it are going to be very different. Some people will be very afraid, anxious, fearful, and they would not want to leave their house and they would not want to carry out the daily life activities in a normal way, what they used to do. But some people, they'll be absolutely fine. They'll be like, yeah, it's fine, it's okay. So they might not feel afraid, they might not feel anxious, they might not feel concerned. Some people will be in the middle. They are not too much concerned, but they are also not too much afraid. So the point is, the way we perceive the situation, especially given the current situation, that really differentiate from one person to another person. The way my body and my brain is going to react to any sort of threat or to any sort of sense of lack of safety, it really depends on my own past history of mental health challenges, my genetic history, my neural chemistry, the way I have been raised, the way the place I come from, the family upbringing, the family support, the social support. Also, one person just in the chat box mentioned that, especially with someone with huge loans. So my current circumstances are also gonna play a huge role how I'm gonna feel towards the situation, because maybe I am the one I feel about future absolutely safe because maybe I have enough safety, I have enough savings or something, but maybe someone is in a problematic financial situation or problematic back home situation. So our responses are going to be very different. So what we really need to learn and we need to try is not to judge the other person, because when let's say one of my friend is afraid and anxious, and if I would tell that person, don't be afraid, I'll say this, don't be afraid, excuse me, don't be afraid, don't be anxious, it's nothing, please don't overthink about it. This is where we kind of put pressure on the other person for not having them the ability or not giving them the space to express themselves. So if we go back now, the current situation we have in UAE, I think all of you are aware. I don't need to say this, but the current situation over the past few days in the region, we have seen events that are unusual and understandably unsettling. I mean, this is not something we have seen it coming. And especially for me, for example, living in UAE for the past 12 years, I did not expect it at all. So for me, it came as a shock. Residents across the UAE, one day we just wake up like, emergency alerts, news of drones and interceptions, disruptions in air travel, people stocking supplies, people thinking about leaving the place, people thinking of obviously trying to protect themselves is. What can I do to keep myself safe? Not only that, I think we have lots of conversations going on around us with our friends, with our colleagues, maybe families back home that are surrounded by, like, so much of uncertainty. It's not only I'm dealing with this, but also I'm dealing with so much conversation from other people. So when situations like this occur, our brain automatically asks three questions, and it's very automatic. It's genetic, it's a neurological. You don't have a control. So the first question comes is like, am I safe? Second question comes, is my family safe? And the third question is, what will happen next? Because human brain actually functions on sense of safety. I want to feel safe physically, psychologically, emotionally. Also, I want the people around me to feel safe and to be safe. And if that I don't see it happening, then I'll keep on overthinking and trying to make different assumptions. Now, what's gonna happen next? And I think if you all have been feeling the same way, please understand that we all are in the same boat. And these three questions right now is something that we all have been experiencing. And when these kind of questions comes, the names of the emotions that can happen is the fear and panic. It can be anxiety and uncertainty. It can be helplessness. And I think helplessness is something that we all need to acknowledge, because right now the situation is we don't have a control over it. We don't know when it's gonna end, and we don't know what are the consequences or how the situation is gonna unfold. So me as a human being who doesn't have a control over something is really going to make me feel helpless. And when I'm helpless, deep down, I can also feel angry and frustrated. Now, one thing is really we need to acknowledge that it's absolutely fine and okay to feel these emotions of helplessness, angry, frustrated, anxious, uncertain. But in these kind of situations, what our region is going through right now, it's okay to feel emotions, but what you do with those emotions matters for your safety as well as the safety of our community. When I say the safety of you and the community, I would like to say example for that. For example, if I'm helpless or anxious or uncertain or I'm afraid, you have to notice one thing, that whenever you're feeling in a certain negative way, your vitals, heart rate, muscle tension, body temperature, everything is going to shoot. It's going to go up, and we call it hypervigilance. So my body, all the vitals are up. So if I don't do anything to bring the vitals in the normal state, it's going to impact my brain health and my physical health in the long run, which we call chronic stress. And chronic stress leads ultimately to burnout, to anxiety, to depression, and to PTSD. And the second point is safety of our community. It's absolutely fine to feel angry and frustrated, but we cannot take a certain action that will put our community into some sort of danger. For example, I cannot go on social media and rant about certain emotions or certain things that I have to share that are boiling inside me. I can't do that because people who are listening to me, you never know how they are going to be impacted by that. I cannot go out and become physically aggressive. I cannot start shouting. I cannot create a sense of environment that maybe exaggerate some sort of fear or sense of lack of safety in the people around me. So I think the first key message is it's absolutely okay to feel certain emotions, but what you do with those certain emotions is really going to dictate the sense of safety you're going to feel about yourself and the way you're going to keep your community safe. And I think so far, I am so proud to be part of this community. I am so proud to be living in such a state where all of us are doing the best what we can, and our government is protecting us, and we all are there for each other. And arranging this webinar is one of the example. Is like maybe your employer is trying to pay a little bit extra attention to help you manage these emotions, whatever you're feeling right now. So now why this happens is the brain neurology. Why do we feel these emotions? So let's talk about bit of neurology. I wouldn't go into more detail because we don't need so much of detail. So what happens neurologically whenever my brain detects a possible threat? There is one part in my brain, it's called amygdala. Amygdala activates a fight and flight response. And I'm sure, I mean, whatever job you also do, there are certain situations is like you have to activate certain response to maybe meet the deadline or to complete the project or, to perform in a meeting or do anything. So we are always ready. Same, our brain is always ready to activate amygdala whenever my brain is going to see a threat or a danger in my environment. When it gets activated, immediately our body begins to increase heart rate, speed up breathing, release of adrenaline and cortisol, and heightened alertness. Now, this system, why do we have in our brain? Because it is supposed to protect us. And it's absolutely fine. We are supposed to be protecting ourselves. For example, right now, if you hear a sound of interception or if you hear a alert on your phone, you are supposed to be alert because that's the whole point of the alert. Get alert, see if your surroundings are safe and no, and your heart rate will be up. And I'm sure you can all relate to that. However, once the alert is gone, once the sound is gone, and I made sure that I'm safe, what do I do with this heightened sense of physiological feeling I have in my body? This is what you have in your control, and that's it. The moment you hear any sound, the moment you hear any interception, the moment you hear any alert, the moment you see some news or somebody shares something with you, or or you are sitting and making different scenarios in your brain is like, what if this happen? What if this happen? What if this happen? Observe your body. Observe how am I feeling in my body? And I'm sure you all will be able to relate. These physical sensations will be up. So now you have two choices, either to stay in that physical state and ignore it, or to relax and come back to your normal. Now, how we can relax? I think nobody better, nothing can be more beneficial than taking a slow, deep breath. And I think it's a cliche. Everybody knows it. In this age of wellness, where everybody is talking about yoga, meditation, breathing, we all know and we heard a lot about it. We are supposed to take slow, deep breaths. But actually, we know it. The only problem is we don't do it. The thing is, whenever our physical sensations are really high, our brain neurons have a very less oxygen. So, what I need to do, my job and my responsibility is to provide more oxygen to my brain. And how can I do that? Is by inhaling from my nostrils, from my nose, not from my mouth, keeping that breath sometime in my stomach and then exhaling that from my open mouth.
होगा
And whenever you
हीरा नहीं है
exhale, try to exhale long. Try to
आज नहीं
stretch your exhalation.
हीरा नहीं है
उस दिन हिंदी तो है क्या
I think
बताऊं
some of the people, the
उस दिन
mics are
हिंदी तो
on.
है
Can I
हरी से
please
हिंदी तो
नहीं
request?
मैं कह रहा हूँ हीरा क्या नाम होता है पाकिस्तानी है ना ये
आयरा होगा ना उसने उस तरह रखा हुआ है
आयरा क्या होता है
आयरा नेम है मुझे इतना पसंद है कभी भी ठीक
Harish, your microphone is on,
सुची
please.
Okay, you guys are not mute.
मैंने
My
पहले
name
से
is
आवाज
Ira.
बंद कर लेना हो गया है तुम्हारे आवाज वाली
जी नहीं
मेरी मर्जी नहीं तो
अगर तुमने
ताहिर
इब्राहिम बोला ना मैंने तुम्हारे टोटे कर देने हैं तुम्हें बता रही हूँ
मैंने अपनी मर्जी
Uh,
हम दोनों
नहीं
नहीं
everyone,
मुझे
can
क्या
you
सुना
please
Tahir,
हाँ
put
Tahir,
yourself
Harish.
on mute?
हमने सारे
ये
खुद
देखा है
डिसाइड किए थे
जी
मिलके
नहीं
मैंने तुम्हें
मैंने
मिलाया
अपना
था नहीं
वो तोड़ दिया
मैं बताती हूँ
वरना मैंने चौथे पंक्ति को फिर मैं खुद रख
Yeah,
Okay.
मर्जी तुम्हारी
okay.
Okay. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you. So, the whole point is to bring our breath back. So, right now, some of the people are busy gossiping, which is okay. But all of us, we are 60 right now. Let's all of us take a deep breath together. So, try to follow. When I inhale, you also inhale with me. And when I say exhale, we take a long exhalation. So let's all take a deep breath and we will take 3 deep breaths. So let's inhale from nose, exhale. One more, inhale, exhale. One more, inhale, exhale. Thank you so much for joining me in taking deep breaths. There is so much research available that tells us every time we take a deep breath, people report that their mind and their body feels like it has more space, like it opens up. So every time you feel like you are heightened, you just try to take deep breaths. And this is the I think first aid of mental health, wellness, or you can say like anytime you are afraid or anxious or hyper, just take a deep breath and it will help you to calm down. Obviously, there are so many things that we have noticed recently. Maybe you have difficulty sleeping, maybe you checking the news repeatedly, maybe you feel on edge, maybe you have difficulty focusing at work, maybe you are imagining worst case scenarios because we all do. Actually, that's completely normal. And what can we do about it apart from taking deep breaths? Now, taking deep breaths is something, as I said, like it's a first aid of any sort of emotion that you experience. But apart from that, there are so many things, and the first thing is acceptance. The word acceptance has so much power in it. It's one of the most powerful psychological framework of navigating uncertainty. Why? Because there are actually, when I say acceptance, there are 6 core principles to it. Now, acceptance does not mean liking the situation. I mean, we all hate it. We all are frustrated. I don't like the situation. But acceptance does not mean liking the situation. It means acknowledging reality without fighting our emotions. Okay. For example, instead of saying I should not feel anxious, we say it makes sense that I feel anxious given the circumstances. Okay. Um, we have the right to make a decision if you want to be in the situation, if you don't want to be in the situation. But if you are in the situation which you cannot control, it means you have to accept that this is what it is. Because when we accept, acceptance reduces the internal struggle. It brings a lot of freedom in our body. You can accept, but you cannot fight your emotions. Absolutely not normal to say, I am anxious, I am fine, I am not concerned, or I am concerned. So accept the situation and do what you can. And what you can do right now, until now we spoke, is taking deep breaths and acknowledging your emotions, naming your emotions. The second thing is cognitive diffusion. Now, many times our thoughts, whatever scenarios we make in our head, whatever circumstances or overthinking we have, actually they feel like fact. For example, right now I can sit and I can imagine how the coming 1 week will look like in UAE. Now, given all the history, given all the news and so much of information, I would actually believe that this is how it's going to be. But our thoughts are not realities. And it's very important to acknowledge that. And whatever way you are going to think today is going to determine your emotion today. For example, if I am hopeless about the situation, if I'm very negative about the situation, and if I'm already making maybe 10 different plans to do something to protect myself, it means that right now I will be afraid, I will be panic, I will be anxious, I'll have low energy, my sleep will be disturbed, my physical health will be disturbed, I'll have a digestion problem. So right now, if I have the capability and I have the time to maybe make my thoughts bit positive, that would really help you to navigate this situation a lot. Now, the third point is values and actions. During uncertainty, we can ask ourselves, especially in this time, what kind of person do I want to be during difficult times? And right now we are 70 people. 70 people in this group going through the same situation. I think these situation obviously are unfortunate and we did not ask for it. Nobody wants it. But now we are in that situation and I accept it. I accept it and I acknowledge it. But then maybe little bit I can pay attention and I can grow out of it more resilient and more strong by asking myself this question: what kind of person do I want to be during this time? Do I want to be helpful? Do I want to nurture my community? Do I want to nurture my physical health? Do I want to nurture my work? Do I want to get more closer to my religion? Do I want to do something that helps maybe people in a longer run? Do I want to make plans for my family that will help them or protect them in the future? So I think during this time, if we shift our focus from anxiety or fear to what kind of person I want to become in this situation, this will really help us to navigate our emotions. There is another concept, it's called cognitive appraisals. Now, cognitive appraisals is like it's a very powerful tool. This means changing the way we interpret the situation. Okay. Now, the small example I can give, whenever I hear a sound of interception, of course, my brain imagines something. My brain imagine that, okay, maybe I'm in fear, all of that. Or most of the people, what they have been reporting, whenever there is alert on the phone, they get really frustrated because the sound, there was no need. Many people are trying to have those thoughts also. So whenever I hear any sound of interception, um, rather than maybe thinking about something terrible is happening, maybe I can think about, this means protection systems are working. This means that people are out there to keep us safe. Yes, it's happening, but this sound means I am safe. So, any way to actually negative thought, pick up any negative thought if you have, and then try to make it into a little bit of healthy way. Now, I think the next point is, and this is something I don't like to repeat it again and again because I say it a lot. Anytime you go to any doctor, doesn't matter family medicine, psychologist, neurologist, cardiologist, any doctor you go with the physical or mental health concern, they're gonna ask you three questions. Do you sleep well? Do you eat well and healthy? And do you move your body? And most of the time, we don't have answers to these questions because scientifically, if these three things are really aligned with what our body and our mind needs, I think 90% of the challenges can be resolved because lack of sleep and unhealthy food is something that plays a lot with our cortisol, with our adrenaline, with our the functions of our blood pressure, the glucose level in our body, and most of the physical health challenges come from the bad nutrition, come from the poor sleep, and come from the fact that we don't move our body. So the whole day when I have spent in so much stress, in so much lactic acid, I was sitting on my screen and working. I was so anxious the whole day. And by end of the day, I just went to bed with all those negative hormones in my body. I didn't do anything to shake them off. And I think today, I'm sure you have heard this statement before from so many doctors, eat well, sleep well, and move your body. I think today, little bit ask yourself this question, do I really move my body or no? Obviously, movement. And I think if I give you my personal example, so many people ask me this question multiple times. How do I manage my physical and mental health while being in this job? And I think my answer has always been the same. Doesn't matter whatever is happening, doesn't matter whatever is going on, how many things are happening up in the air. I still manage to go to gym and I still manage to move my body. And that's what helps me to show up for myself and for my community. Now, going to the gym does not mean that you only have to go to the gym and lift weight and do certain movements like for hours and hours. Moving your body can be even you play a song on your TV or on your mobile and you start dancing on that song. You play, there are so many YouTube links available. They actually tells you what to do, how to move your body. There are so many Zumba links. There are so many movements and exercises are available. You put them on in front of you. Everybody has a phone. Put them on and just start copying them. Just shake your body. And even if you don't want to do it, just time to time uh, throughout your day, just stand up from your couch and shake your body. I'm sure many of you have seen this video where people are doing this, people are just moving their body. Yeah, it looks insane, but try to shake your body because if you do, this will really, really release good hormones that actually diffuse the impact of cortisol and adrenaline. And I think this is the best thing I can advise you today. I don't know if any of you will do it or no. Social support is very important. And when it comes to social support does not mean that right now I am in this situation and I am gonna keep talking about it with my friends again and again, again and again, again and again. Connect with the people, connect with the family, but try not to entertain the topic so much because the more and more my brain is gonna listen to this concept of I'm not okay, there is this happening, this news, that news, that all the time my brain is going to be in alert. And we don't want constant negativity to our brain. We want to give breaks to our brain where it feels normal. So when this situation is over, we don't end up developing PTSD out of it. Okay. So anytime you have some news or something, try not to share it in WhatsApp groups. I have been telling people like you don't need to be the news reporter for your friends. Your friend has mobile, your friend has access to phone, has access to news. Your friend will get to know. So we don't have to share certain news or certain videos in the groups, especially in the groups, because it's a lot. Next is obviously we need to have very healthy boundaries with the news. There will be lots of channels, there will be so much happening. And one of my patients told me like how Indian news have been exaggerating the situation, or news channels from other countries, they have been exaggerating the whole situation in on another level. So we also need to know what kind of news channel I want to associate myself with, and for how many hours, for how many minutes do I really want to spend my whole day watching news on Facebook, on Instagram, even on TV. So try to give breaks to your brain. And again, I would keep repeating this statement. We are in this situation, understandable, but our brain needs a break from it. And that break can be 10 minutes, can be 2 minutes, can be 5 minutes, but take those breaks and distract yourself from whatever is happening. You don't need to be 24 by 7 on alert. Obviously, integrating acceptance, what we spoke about, I think today the takeaway for us is going to be I am in this situation, and this situation makes me feel this way. I have certain emotions. My body reacts in a certain way whenever I am in a certain situation. It can be work, it can be you having difficulty completing the deadline, maybe you having difficulty sleeping, or stop overthinking. There can be so many things that you are going through right now. So I don't have a control over how this situation is going to unfold. The only control I have is over how I am going to react in this situation, what kind of person I'm going to become in this situation, and how I am going to take care of myself, where I create safety for myself and for the community around me. Thank you so much, everyone. It's lovely talking with all of you. We are 70 people right now, and somebody was asking, had a question about my name. My name is Ira, and yes, I am from Pakistan. And yes, I know that there is one name very famous right now on one of the drama. That's Ira. So I'm not Ira, I'm Ira. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been in Dubai almost 12 years now, and I love it. It's my home. And I've worked in different hospitals. I'm specialized in CBT and EMDR, trauma therapy. Last year, I opened my own clinic. It's called Mir Psychiatry Clinic. We provide psychiatric and psychological services. So if anytime you or someone you know needs psychological help with depression, anxiety, PTSD, anything emotional related challenges, please feel free to contact me, Psychiatric Clinic. Thank you so much, everyone. All the questions are welcome. Whatever time we have, I would like to spend with you all talking. Thank you. Hi, Shivani, are you here?
Yes, Ira, thank you so much. Let's wait for some questions. Um, yeah, there are some people here wanting to chit chat with you, Ira.
Sure.
The person wants to know, do you currently live in Dubai? I would
Yes,
really
I
appreciate some valid questions related to the subject.
yes, I do live in Dubai.
And maybe now is the time when you can feel free to unmute yourself. And if you want to ask a question or put in your question in the chat box. Well, we're seeing a lot of thank yous.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. If you ever have question, I mean, if what about children in this situation? Yes, it's a very nice question. I believe, Maha, I believe it's a full other topic to actually learn what to do with the children, because children are going to absorb your energy. Whatever way you are going to react, they are going to learn from it. So the thing is, again, this question is very important and heavy on the parents. What kind of parent do I want to be in this situation? Um, do I really wanna hide my expressions from them? Or do I really want to take them with me and teach them how to manage? It's absolutely normal for our children to have so many questions because they listen from friends, they see a lot from friends. So, whatever way you can answer them, please do, but also help them connect with their body, help them or give them the opportunity so they talk about it. Don't really shut them off. Don't say like, oh, let's not talk about it, oh, it's nothing, because these statements will really close them off. So I think the best part is you can always ask them more question, you can always ask them how are you feeling, and if they are feeling fearful, help them take deep breaths. Tell them, take a deep breath with me, you will see this will really help me to manage my emotions. So I think just normalize talking about emotions and managing about it.
Thanks a lot, Ira. I see another person asking for your clinic details, please.
My clinic details, Mir, I will write it here, Mir Psychiatry Clinic. And there is a WhatsApp number available. You can always send a WhatsApp to know the details for consultations or anything. 052 Good. Thank you.
There's, there's
Inhale and
somebody
exhale.
asking, there's somebody asking, Ira, do light instruments help to ease out the situation? Light instrumentals.
Actually, there's not much evidence proven about it. However, I always say one thing. The moment you believe is something is going to help you, is actually going to help you. Because maybe it's not the light, but it's your intention and it's your hope that I am doing this, it's going to help me. This is first thing first. And secondly, if you have taken out time to expose yourself to a certain light, that break to your brain and the intention of taking care of yourself already has a huge impact that will help you. So if it's light or no, there is not much evidence for it. But you took out time to do something about it. Yes, that has a huge impact.
Somebody has shared their experience with the breathing exercise that we did, that it actually rested their body, even though the person was not feeling too stressed. Yeah,
Yes,
that's how
yes.
much breath work is helpful.
Yes, breath work is very helpful. It's something that has been proven over time, again and again. Just creates a lot of space in our body and in brain to have more. So always take deep breaths. And imagine if deep breath is going to help you this way, how much moving your body will help you in the long run. So please move your body. Please shake your body. Just walk, dance, do anything you can.
But that is so true, Ira. Like, honestly, I have been quite physically active all through my life. But during these days, I realized that initially, first few days, because of the anxiety and everything, I wasn't really moving much and I was just staying at home, just
Mm-hmm.
feeling so scared. And I realized, like, over 2, 3 days, my anxiety levels were so high.
Mm.
And around fourth or fifth day, when I started, I made sure that I am moving. I'm still going to at least my building gym and getting in some workout. It immediately felt so different. Like my anxiety was so much less after I started moving. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
so true, right? Like movement really helps
Yes.
you lower down your anxiety
Yes.
levels.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, long sleep helps. Laughter, of course. Laughter, exercise, singing, dancing, it all helps a lot. But when it comes to long sleep, now long sleep, it really, you have your own definition of long sleep. My long sleep is 9 hours. But if your sleep is going more than 9 hours, I think that might be unhealthy. Because when we get enough sleep, which is like, again, depends on the body. So try not to exaggerate sleep because if we sleep more, we wake up very groggy, very like already in a low energy. We don't wake up fresh. So try to know what are the best hours for you. And somebody asked, I'm wondering, Etihad Engineering Insurance covered consultations in Mir Clinic. So right now at Mir Clinic we have pay and claim. However, I'm not sure. I think Shivani will be able to give you this answer. But if your policy covers psychology, then you definitely can get the reimbursement.
I will definitely check this with the team, and we have Cherise here. Let me just check. She is currently handling the insurance questions. Cherise, would you be able to
Yes. Yeah, I
yeah.
think I would have to address that per entity because it's a mix of entities and categories of employees in this group. So we'll
Yes.
we'll yeah, we'll
Yeah.
address that as and when the query comes into us coming from the HRs.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so as long as if your policy has psychology coverage, you will be able to get the reimbursement. If the children don't seem bothered by it, do we need to deliberately tell them the truth? They know what's happening, but not in the detail. No, if they are not concerned, don't have to go into details. You need to still emphasize the solution. No, you just, as a parent, you just need to make sure that your children are properly fed, they are properly sleeping, they are safe, they are not exposing themselves into situations outside where they are not safe. But you don't need to explain them into details. If they are not bothered, good for them. That's what childhood means. Thank you, everyone. It was lovely. Yes, definitely speaking with friends help. But as we spoke, we really want to have certain boundaries. How much do we talk about the topic? We don't need to talk about this topic again and again. We can always take breaks from it. Thank you, everyone. It was very nice session, interactive with everybody.
Thanks a lot, Ira. Thank you for your time and for sharing your insights. And to all of you, thanks a lot for attending. And hope everybody here, stay safe, follow the guidelines, protect yourself, and most importantly, protect your, like Ira said, maintain the healthy boundaries and protect your mental health more than anything.
Definitely. And I have written the word, it's my Instagram. All the South Asian community, they can follow me here. I make a lot of content related to mental health in Hindi and Urdu language. And apart from that, you can stay connected with me on Meer Clinic Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Ira.
Thank you. Bye bye.